Let's get into a couple of main perils here, and there are two distinct failure categories that are going to require slightly different investigation approaches. The first is going to be water damage events, and these kind of start out as a localized failure but can trigger kind of a cascading effect throughout a system. Think of a burst pipe or a flooded basement affecting multiple connected systems. Second's going to be lightning and surge events, and these may propagate system-wide throughout the electrical or network connections, and it's going to affect multiple points kind of simultaneously rather than kind of spreading out from one location. Now, each has its own assessment challenges. Water damage is about kind of tracing that cascade, and lighting and surge is understanding that network propagation, how it spread out. So let's look at each category in detail to understand this a little bit deeper. So water damage to central equipment racks can create kind of a domino effect. One incident can actually knock out lighting, heating and air conditioning, security, everything connected to that central rack system. And the key takeaway here is kind of the brain. It's great because it's all in one place, but all in one place actually can be a critical vulnerability. A basement flood or a burst pipe near that equipment closet is actually, starts out as a local problem, but it can also lead to a total system failure. And this is where claim realities kind of start to hit hard. A $5,000 simple water incident can balloon into 40 or more $1,000 in automation damages. And maybe you're going to see a little bit more about that in some of our claim scenarios. So let's see what that might look like in a water damage scenario. So upstairs here in this house, we've got a toilet leak. And that cheap supply line has let go and is now hosing down the entire primary bathroom. But that water's not staying there, it's going someplace. It's now coming down through the ceiling into that living room. And this water may damage any device in that room, whether it's DIY items or pro devices. And that's usually, though, where it kind of stops. Okay, the brain of this professional system is unaffected because it's not in that area. And any other DIY items that are outside of these rooms are also unaffected. Now let's look at another scenario here. This time we've got a water heater and the plumbing that gets kind of routed rather precariously over this rack system. And if we get a water break here, maybe a freeze failure or a bad install over these data racks and equipment, that water's now soaking into all this equipment. And we're talking about maybe 10 to 20 gallons per minute for, especially from a water supply line rushing into this space. And remember, our professional system here, all of these devices are connected, routed back to here. And so the brain, it's affected, so too is the rest of the system as it kind of goes offline. And this is where DIY systems might have a slight advantage. They perform just like the first scenario. So only devices that were directly in contact with the water damage would potentially be affected. So, and that is unless that router is sitting in that closet, and then nothing for either system is going to be potentially working. Now, the positive side for possible water claims, both DIY and pro systems may have automatic mitigation systems configured in, and this can be a real game changer for water damage prevention. They do make smart shutoff integrations available on the market. These professional installed systems detect leaks and automatically shut off water flow immediately. It's like having like a 24/7 watchdog on your plumbing system. And you might even see discounts offered to customers who have these installed. Now, taking the big dollar home automation systems kind of out of the equation for a moment here, there is proven savings here. So the numbers kind of speak for themselves. These systems reduce the average water claim by an average of about $4,000. And this significantly kind of limits the damage here. Again, discounts might get offered because of these devices, but it's not just shutoffs. It could be simple things like sump pump systems with backups and push notifications and alarms, or pan sensors for your ACs in your attic spaces, or water heaters and laundry pans, or it might just be general moisture sensors, maybe around other appliances, but just also general areas where you might want advance notice of water, someplace where it's not supposed to be. So what do you do when you get a water claim and your insureds are asking you for help? Here's some quick advice for them that you might want to help, and this might actually help minimize the damages overall for you as well. The first priority here is going to be to de-energize the system immediately. This is going to help prevent possible short circuits or burnt up components and carbon tracing. Water intrusion can knock out multiple subsystems all at once, so it becomes really, the insurance process. You want to get these big three steps out there in place. The first is going to be controlled drying and then inspection. So don't rush to kind of power these devices back on. The thorough methodical drying is kind of essential, which is going to be followed up by detailed inspections before you turn the power back on. Now, once you get there, we're talking about bench or metered testing of individual components. Now, professionals can test individual module cards, processors, switches, and assess whether those have been functionally damaged, or whether they are functional or whether they are actually damaged. Modular replacement. This is where professional rack systems kind of shine. You can actually swap out specific damaged cards or processors or individual rack components. And so generally, there's no need to replace the entire system.